You gave birth, and your body responded the way any living system responds to something that overwhelming. It held on, not to punish you, not to embarrass you, not to make your life harder, but because holding on is what bodies do when they have been through something they have not yet fully recovered from. Postpartum weight, for so many women, is not a diet problem. It is a trauma response. And today I want to sit with you in that truth and then walk you through what actually changes things when you finally understand what your body is really asking for. Here is what I want you to think about for a moment. Before you had your baby, you probably had a fairly clear sense of who you were in your body. Maybe you did not love everything about it. Most of us have a complicated relationship with our bodies long before pregnancy, but you knew it. You understood roughly how it worked. You knew what made you feel good, what you could eat without thinking too hard, what a normal day felt like from the inside. And then, almost overnight, all of that changed. Not just physically, though the physical changes are enormous and real and deserve far more acknowledgement than they get, but something deeper shifted too, something harder to name. You looked in the mirror and did not fully recognize the person looking back, not because you looked bad, but because you looked different. And different, after everything your body just went through, can feel frightening, even when you cannot explain exactly why. And alongside that, the exhaustion, unlike anything you had ever felt before. The feeling of your needs being permanently last on the list. The strange grief of a life that used to be yours in a different way. The pressure from social media, from well-meaning comments, from a culture obsessed with bouncing back to perform a kind of recovery that frankly doesn't reflect the reality of what actually happened to you. Here is what I need you to understand. That combination, the physical shock of birth, the identity disruption, the emotional weight of new motherhood, the chronic sleep deprivation, the relentless pressure to look like you did before, that combination is not just emotionally hard, it's biologically destabilizing. Your body registered all of it, every sleepless night, every anxious moment, every time you pushed through exhaustion to keep going, every time you looked at yourself and felt something drop in your chest. Your body was there for all of it, taking notes, adjusting its systems accordingly. And one of the ways it adjusted was by deciding firmly, protectively, without asking your permission, that now was not the time to let go of its reserves. This is not a willpower problem. This is not a laziness problem. This is your body doing exactly what a body does when it has been through something it has not yet processed as safe. Let's talk about what's happening inside your body when it physically refuses to burn fat, because this is real, it's measurable, and it has nothing to do with how hard you're trying. When your body perceives threat, and threat here means anything from physical danger to emotional overwhelm to chronic sleep deprivation to the quiet, persistent grief of losing your old sense of self, it activates a system called the HPA axis. That stands for hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal axis. But all you need to know is what it does. It tells your body, emergency mode, preserve, protect, do not let go of anything you don't have to. In emergency mode, your body redirects energy away from non-essential functions. Digestion slows, hormonal repair slows, metabolism slows, and fat, particularly the fat stored around your middle, becomes locked. Your body refuses to burn it because fat is your most concentrated energy reserve, and in an emergency, you don't spend your reserves, you protect them. This is brilliant biology. If you were facing an actual physical threat, this response would save your life. But your body can't tell the difference between a physical threat and an emotional one. It can't distinguish between running from danger and lying awake at 2 a.m. with anxiety twisting in your chest. It can't separate the stress of a difficult birth from the stress of seeing a comment online that makes you feel like you're not recovering fast enough. All of it registers as threat. All of it keeps the emergency signal running, and all of it keeps fat locked in place. Now, here's the part about identity, because this is where most postpartum weight loss conversations completely fall apart. When you lost your sense of yourself in your body, when you stopped recognizing the person in the mirror, when you started feeling like a function rather than a person, when the version of you that existed before your baby started to feel very far away, your nervous system registered that too. Identity disruption is a psychological stress, and psychological stress activates the exact same biological emergency response as physical threat. The loss of your former self, the pressure to perform a recovery you're not ready for, the feeling of being invisible inside your own life, these are not soft emotional experiences that exist separately from your body. They live in your body. They show up in your cortisol levels, your insulin sensitivity, your thyroid function, your ability to burn fat. You cannot separate the emotional experience of postpartum life from the physical one. They are the same system. And this is why, as hard as it is to hear, no diet will fix this on its own, because diets address calories. They don't address the fact that your body is operating under an emergency signal that has nothing to do with how much you ate today. What actually changes things is sending your body a different signal, a safety signal, a signal that says, the emergency is over, you survived, you are still here, and it's finally, genuinely safe to let go. So how do you actually send that signal? How do you begin to communicate safety to your body that has been in threat response, in some cases, for over a year? Not through restriction, not through punishment, through the specific, targeted things that your nervous system actually recognizes as safe. One of the most powerful things you can do for your body right now is allow yourself to genuinely acknowledge what changed, not to dwell in it, not to spiral, but to name it honestly. You lost a version of yourself. Your body changed in ways you did not fully choose. Your life reorganized around someone else's needs before you were fully ready. That's real. That's a loss. And unprocessed grief, grief that gets pushed down because there's no time, because you feel guilty for not feeling purely grateful, because you're supposed to be happy, unprocessed grief is a chronic stressor. It keeps the emergency signal running quietly in the background. Writing about it, talking about it with someone safe, or simply sitting with the feeling without immediately trying to fix it, these are not indulgent acts. They are nervous system regulation. They are how you begin to process the experience so your body can start to feel that it's behind you rather than still happening to you. One of the most damaging things the bounce-back culture does is ask you to treat your postpartum body as a problem to be solved, as something to return from, to undo, to overcome. And when you're in a constant state of war with your own body, your nervous system never feels safe. It stays braced. It stays defended. It keeps holding on. The shift that changes things is moving from how do I get back to who I was toward how do I get to know who I am now. This is not about giving up. It's about radical acceptance as a biological strategy. When you stop perceiving your body as the enemy, your stress response begins to ease. And when your stress response eases, your body gradually, measurably, begins to release the physiological grip of survival mode. Find one thing your body does now that you can genuinely appreciate, not perform gratitude about, genuinely feel. Maybe it fed your baby. Maybe it got you through a night that seemed impossible. Maybe it's simply still here, still trying, still yours. That recognition, small and real, is a signal of safety your nervous system can actually use. Because postpartum fat is held in place by a threat signal, restriction almost always makes it worse. Your body interprets reduced food as further scarcity, further evidence that the emergency is ongoing, and tightens its grip accordingly. What actually works is abundance, not overeating, but generous, consistent, whole nourishment. Food that tells your body resources are here, there's enough, you are not in danger. Focus on what you can add, not what you can remove. More protein, more healthy fats, avocado, eggs, olive oil, which directly support hormonal repair after birth. More foods that are nutrient-dense and deeply satisfying, eaten at regular intervals. This is the nutritional language of safety, and your body slowly begins to hear it. When movement is motivated by the desire to fix or punish your body, it carries an emotional charge your nervous system picks up on. And that charge, the anxiety, the frustration, the urgency, is itself a mild stress signal that works against the safety state you're trying to build. Move in ways that feel genuinely good. Slow walks where you notice the air and the light. Gentle stretching that releases physical tension your body has been holding for months. Movement that makes you feel more at home in your body, not more at war with it. This is how movement becomes medicine, rather than another form of pressure. Here are 5 things you can start this week, not to fix yourself, but to begin sending your body the safety signal it has been waiting for. Step 1. Name one loss out loud. Write it down. Say it to someone you trust, or simply acknowledge it to yourself without immediately moving on. One honest recognition of what changed. This begins to move grief from the body, rather than letting it sit there as chronic stress. Step 2. Find one thing your body does that you can genuinely respect, not force yourself to love, just respect. It carried a life. It is still here. It is still trying. One real acknowledgement, once a day. Step 3. Add before you subtract. This week, do not take anything out of your diet. Just add. Add protein to one meal. Add a healthy fat. Add 1 extra glass of water. Addition signals abundance. Abundance signals safety. Step 4. Move in a way that feels like kindness. A slow walk, gentle stretching, 10 minutes of something that makes you feel more like yourself, not less. Do it daily, not to burn anything, but to remind your body that it is allowed to feel good. Step 5. Say this once a day, out loud if you can. My body went through something real. It is protecting me the only way it knows how, and I am safe now. This is not just affirmation. This is a direct communication to your nervous system. Repeated daily, it genuinely begins to shift the internal signal from threat to safety. Postpartum fat is not a character flaw. It is not evidence of failure. It is your body's deeply intelligent response to something that was genuinely hard and genuinely real. You do not need to fight your way back to yourself. You need to feel your way back, slowly, honestly, with more compassion than this culture ever thought to offer you. Your body is not the problem. It never was. It is the very thing that got you through. And it is ready, when it feels safe enough, to begin letting go. If this landed somewhere real for you today, please give it a like. It helps this message reach the mothers out there who are carrying this quietly and need to hear it. And subscribe so you are here for what comes next, because we are just getting started. You are doing so much better than you know. I will see you in the next one.